Do you talk to your bird every single day, spend time near them, offer treats from your hand, and still feel like something between you isn't quite right? You're clearly trying. But here's what nobody tells you. The things that damage a bird's trust most aren't the big mistakes. They're the small, everyday habits you don't even realize are sending the wrong message. And because birds can't pull away the way other animals can, they absorb those signals quietly, until one day the bond you thought you were building just isn't there anymore. We're going through 5 of them today, and some of them, especially the one about what happens every time you walk away, are going to completely change the way you see your bird. Let's start with the one happening right above your bird's head. 1. Your hand is coming from the wrong direction. Have you ever reached into your bird's space to bring them out and watch them back up into the corner, even though 5 minutes ago they seemed perfectly happy to see you? Most people assume their bird is just moody or not in the mood today, so they reach in anyway, or they wait and try again the same way tomorrow. But here's what's really happening. In the wild, the only thing that descends on a bird from above is a predator, a hawk, an owl, a shadow dropping out of the sky. That trajectory, a large shape moving downward, is one of the oldest danger signals baked into bird biology. When your hand comes down from above toward your bird, their brain doesn't register "my person." It registers threat. Every single time. Researchers studying fear responses in parrots have consistently found that an overhead approach is one of the most reliable triggers for alarm behavior, even in birds that are otherwise completely hand-tame. Avian behaviorist Barbara Heidenreich, whose work on fear-free bird training is widely cited in parrot care, emphasizes that the angle and direction of approach matters as much as the speed. The body doesn't care about your intentions. It responds to the shape of the movement. That flinch in the corner isn't attitude. That's not your bird being difficult. That's your bird's ancient survival system firing. And this time, it's aimed at you. And that direction your hand comes from is only one piece of this. Later, I'll talk about what happens in the moments after your bird gets scared, because most owners make it worse without realizing it, and it matters more than almost anything else on this list. 2. Staring at your bird is a threat, not a connection. Do you ever sit close to your bird and just watch them, really watch them, because you love seeing what they do? Most people think this is bonding. You're present, you're attentive, you're showing interest. That seems like exactly what a caring owner should do. But here's what's really happening. Direct, unbroken eye contact is not affection in bird language. It's a challenge. In the wild, the animal that locks eyes and doesn't look away is the predator. Sustained staring, especially without blinking, especially without any softening signal, reads to your bird as exactly that. The creature watching them hasn't decided what to do yet. And your bird, no matter how tame, has not completely unlearned that read. Studies on parrot vision and threat perception show that birds rely heavily on one eye at a time to assess their environment. When your bird tilts their head sideways to look at you, they're not being charming. They're evaluating you. Researchers in comparative bird cognition, including work building on Irene Pepperberg's decades of parrot behavioral study, have documented how parrots use monocular assessment, one eye focused directly, when they're uncertain about a nearby presence. The act of softening your gaze, blinking slowly, or glancing briefly away is the de-escalation signal birds use with each other. You weren't staring because you're a threat, but your bird's brain doesn't know the difference between a predator that watches and an owner who simply adores. To them, the eyes tell the same story. And hey, if this is already changing the way you see your bird, hit that like button and subscribe. That's how we get these videos to more bird owners who actually want to understand what their bird has been trying to tell them. 3. Your voice is too loud, too fast, and too much. Have you ever called your bird's name from across the room, rushed over talking in an excited voice, and then noticed your bird seemed more unsettled, after not less? Most people think the more energy and responsiveness you bring, the more engaged and loved your bird feels. You're matching their energy. You're showing up for them. But here's what's really happening. In the wild, a sudden spike in noise or movement through the flock means one thing: danger. When the flock goes loud and fast, something is coming. So when your voice rises, even in joy, even in affection, your bird's nervous system doesn't hear, "My person is happy." It hears, "Alert." Researchers studying parrot flock communication draw a sharp distinction between contact calls, which are low, rhythmic, and used to stay connected across distance, and alarm calls, which are sudden, sharp, and high frequency. Field research on wild parrot populations, including Carl Berg's work on how parrots use sound to maintain social bonds, shows that the emotional register of a call matters as much as its meaning. Behaviorally, birds calibrate their own arousal to the emotional environment around them. A consistently loud, unpredictable human voice keeps a bird's stress system in low-level activation. Not fear exactly, but never quite calm either. That burst of enthusiasm you aimed at your bird wasn't excitement to them. To them, it was the sound the world makes right before something goes wrong. Something's wrong. Be ready. That's the message, even when you meant the opposite. 4. Walking away right after your bird calls to you. Has your bird ever made a soft sound, a quiet chirp, a small specific call, right as you were leaving the room, and you just kept walking? Most people don't even register it. They're busy. Birds make sounds, and it doesn't seem like anything deliberate. But here's what's really happening. That soft call as you walked away wasn't random. In a wild flock, when one bird moves out of sight, the others call out, and the bird who left calls back. It's called a contact call, and it is one of the most fundamental trust maintenance behaviors birds have. It's how the flock stays connected across distance. It's how they say, "I'm here. You're still not alone. We're still okay." When your bird calls as you leave and you don't respond, not even a word, not even a sound in return, what your bird registers is silence from the flock. And here's where it gets even harder to sit with, because silence from the flock doesn't mean they're busy. It means something is very wrong. Research on contact call behavior in wild parrots, including work by Carl Berg and Thorsten Balsby on how parrots develop individualized calls within bonded pairs, shows that birds recognize their partner's specific voice and respond differently to it than to unfamiliar calls. It isn't just noise, it's a check-in. In captive parrots, when bonded humans consistently fail to respond to contact calls, studies suggest this is strongly associated with the development of escalating vocalizations over time. That screaming bird most owners find exhausting and confusing isn't demanding. That's a bird who called for the flock over and over, and the flock never once called back. Are you still there? Are we still okay? That's not noise. That's the whole question. 5. The moment after fear is when trust is won or lost forever. Think about the last time something startled your bird. A loud noise, a sudden movement, something dropping nearby. What did you do in the 30 seconds right after? Most people do one of two things. They either rush over immediately, talking fast, reaching in, trying to comfort, or they give the bird space and assume it'll shake off on its own. Both feel like care. Both feel reasonable. But here's what's really happening. And this is the thing I mentioned at the beginning, the one that most owners never see coming. The 30 seconds after a fear event are not a cooldown. They are an active test. Your bird is in a heightened state, and everything they perceive in that window gets recorded. They're not just recovering from the scare. they're taking notes on you. What does my person do when I'm scared? Do they make it louder? Do they disappear? Do they hold still and let the storm pass? And here's where it gets deeper. Because rushing into comfort isn't just ineffective. It can actually teach your bird that being frightened is the thing that earns your full, immediate attention. Research on stress responses in parrots shows that cortisol elevation following a fear event can persist long after the behavioral signs have faded, meaning a bird who looks calm may still be physiologically wound up. Studies in avian stress physiology suggest the body takes far longer to recover than the outward behavior implies. And research on trust and social bonding in highly social animals consistently points to the same finding. The quality of how a bonded partner responds during and after a stressful moment is more predictive of long-term bond security than the total number of positive interactions during calm ones. 10 minutes of happy time on your shoulder cannot undo what one badly handled fear moment writes into your bird's memory. Remember when we talked about your hand coming from the wrong direction, or your voice spiking at the wrong moment? Every one of those things is a small fear event. And every time your bird goes through one and doesn't find steadiness waiting on the other side, that's one more entry in a record your bird is quietly keeping about whether you are safe. They're not tracking your intentions. They don't know you mean well. They're tracking outcomes. They're tracking the pattern. They're asking the same question across 100 different moments on 100 different days. When things go wrong, does this person make it better or worse? I'm not asking if you love me. I'm asking if I'm safe with you. That's not a bird being guarded. That's a bird being honest. Your bird didn't come home looking for an owner. They came home looking for a flock. And every quiet moment, every steady voice, every hand that comes from the right direction tells them the same thing. You found one.